Picking up where the last season left off, Ui Myung, in Sang-wook's body, has snatched Hyun-soo from the military and quickly takes him on the run. Upon receiving the bad news, a pursuit team is immediately dispatched to capture the two special infected individuals. With his incredible driving skills, Ui Myung makes the chase extremely difficult. Finally, he drives the car over a broken bridge, successfully cutting off the soldiers. As for Hyun-soo, as soon as he wakes up, he recognizes the cold-blooded Ui Myung hiding in Sang-wook's form. Without thinking, he rushes to kill him to avenge his teammate, but is seriously injured by him. Time skips back to the remaining survivors at the Green Home apartment. After getting on the military shuttle, they are taken to a road tunnel on the outskirts of Seoul to assist with cleaning up the roads. Here, the military will conduct a first round of screening. Anyone showing even the smallest sign of infection will be shot without mercy. However, even after thoroughly inspecting the area and examining everyone's medical condition, they still discover a lizard monster hiding in the rubble on the street. The group quickly becomes chaotic. Gunshots and bombs explode everywhere, and innocent people who die unjustly fall like flies. In a critical situation, the soldiers have no choice but to direct the remaining survivors onto the shuttle to escape urgently. Eun-yu and Ji-soo's group are lucky enough to be picked up and taken away from the dangerous area. A few minutes later, reinforcements are dispatched to handle the situation. It doesn't take them too long to find the monster's hiding place and proceed to hunt it down. However, what's strange is that from beginning to end, the lizard monster does not actively attack humans. It just jumps around everywhere as if threatening the outsiders not to invade its home and family. It's only the humans who panic on their own, then kill each other and injure the monster. After a period of fighting, the soldiers corner the animal. They spray fire to burn it to death, and plan to eliminate the young one, but Sergeant In Hwan, the commander of the Black Crow platoon, takes pity and actively lets the monster kid go. This inadvertently makes the soldiers under his command feel resentment and concern. The weakness of the commander will, sooner or later, cause the entire platoon to suffer. Back to the journey of Ui Myung and Hyun-soo, who are now in a shopping mall looking for new clothes. The reason the monster has put so much effort into snatching the main character from the military is that he wants Hyun-soo to be free and not waste his time and health on the unethical drug development project that Ui Myung once participated in. Although he understands the good intentions of this guy, Hyun-soo still does not agree with his overly cruel behavior. Ui Myung is happy to promise him that he will not arbitrarily kill innocent people anymore as long as they do not get in his way. Convinced, Hyun-soo decides to follow Ui Myung's plan and go with him to Banseom, a place specializing in studying special infected individuals, to find his own kind. At Research Area 5 of the Banseom Disaster Management Base, doctors are monitoring the condition of a special monster. He used to be Sang-won, the fiancé of the firefighter Lee Kyung. Only after a long time of dedicating himself to medicine has he fallen into a deep coma and transitioned to a vegetative state. Of course, Lee Kyung is not yet aware of this situation. But ever since receiving the unexpected phone call from her seemingly dead husband and learning that he is a part of the drug development project for curing the monster disease, she has always hoped that Sang-won is still alive. Taking advantage of her special forces identity, Lee Kyung follows the group of officers and learns that Hyun-soo and Ui Myung are the last two experimental subjects for drug development. The previous ones were completely useless and will soon be taken away to be destroyed. Suspecting that her husband is one of the first special infected individuals, Lee Kyung urgently finds a way to break into the Banseom base to find her husband. She threatens a major and forces him to take her into the drug development area. Here, Lee Kyung witnesses an inhumane experiment by the research team, aiming to record the changes in the state and characteristics of the infected person when facing relatives. They let the person with the monster disease harm their family, and will then burn the experimental subject to death before it can take stronger action. Back to Hyun-soo. As soon as he agrees with the parasitic Ui Myung, the two wanted individuals drive straight to the military research site, intending to ram the car right into the gate of the laboratory. Unexpectedly, at that moment, Sang-wook's memories suddenly rush back into the parasite's mind, causing him to panic so much that he overturns the car. The physical bodies of Hyun-soo and Ui Myung are both thrown out onto the road and are severely damaged after the accident. Faced with the powerlessness of the crippled flesh that they both hold, Hyun-soo realizes one thing. No matter how superior monsters think they are, they ultimately cannot live without humans. He doesn't want to evolve, and he doesn't need to be the new humanity. Hyun-soo wants to always and forever be a human. So he wants to voluntarily surrender himself to the military to support the drug development operation. Of course, Ui Myung objects to this matter extremely vehemently because he hates humans, fears the barbaric experiments, and, above all, he feels extremely proud to become the new humanity. While the two are arguing, the military catches up and immediately rains bombs and bullets on the two dangerous monsters. Right before climbing into the car to escape from the monster-occupied road tunnel, Eun-yu quickly picks up a gun and keeps it with her. She uses it to threaten the officer, forcing him to take her back to Green Home to search for her brother. After the fierce attack by the military and the robbers, the apartment building has now become a ruined and desolate place, with the corpses of people and monsters scattered all around. Amidst the broken pieces of walls, Eun-yu finds Eun-hyuk's glasses and the paper tracking everyone's medical condition, in which her brother is classified as transforming. While the young girl is crying sadly, on the ceiling, a large black cocoon is constantly wriggling. Outside the car, the soldiers have quickly regained command. He rushes into the apartment, brutally beating Eun-yu, and then orders all the remaining survivors to be tied up and left behind in the building. Suddenly, a strange sound suddenly rings out from the dark corner. Mrs. Myung-suk hesitantly steps out. Seeing the strange woman coming from nowhere, the soldier uses the shuttle bus to ram straight into her, and then lights a fire, intending to burn her alive. Just then, the blind monster who was once the terror of the 14th floor uses his sharp arm to pierce the soldier's head, and then gropes for his next victim. Seeing this, the group follows their old experience and quietly leaves the hiding place. A kind soldier who is still alive helps the group escape from the monster's attention, and then each person climbs onto the bus that is parked nearby and starts the engine, speeding away, escaping the pursuit of the monsters at the apartment. The group then recruits a cold, middle-aged man and continues their journey to the concentration camp. Hyun-soo, after the car accident, has been taken to the Bansium base to be experimented on. People strip off his clothes, bathe the young man in fresh blood, and then release Hyun-soo into a room as large as a coliseum with a giant monster, possessing a slender body and having been a victim of school violence. Hyun-soo, even after turning into a monster, is no match for the person in front of him. He is quickly seriously injured and eaten by this person. But what's strange is that, at the moment he gnaws on Hyun-soo, both he and the monster can see each other's memories from when they were still human. It turns out that the monster used to be a tennis player, but unfortunately suffered from a terminal illness. Confronted with the images he wanted to forget, the monster releases Hyun-soo and begs him to save it. However, when the hazmat team arrives, they turn on the flamethrower and burn the monster to death in the young man's sobbing cries. Impressed by the new test subject's extremely impactful debut, Dr. Lim couldn't suppress his curiosity and angrily went to talk to Hyun-soo. He wanted to know what the young man had done that had caused a red alert monster that had killed dozens of soldiers to learn how to control itself. However, Hyun-soo himself didn't know what had just happened in the arena. He could only ask Dr. Lim about the progress of the vaccine production, and was informed that the medicine had been produced, only it had been lost. To recreate the drug, the special infected Hyun-soo may have to sacrifice himself for medicine, but that is nothing to him. Hyun-soo vows to dedicate himself to the drug development effort at Bansium. Meanwhile, Ui Myung is also taken to the laboratory, but with his past experience, he plays dead to make the doctors lower their guard, and then, when no one is paying attention, he moves the side. Then, the parasite steals laboratory clothes and finds the frozen storage room, where the monster Sangwook is kept in a deep coma. Stepping out of the laboratory with Hyun-soo, Dr. Lim runs into Lee-kyung, who is trying to break in. He claims to be a friend of Sangwook and volunteers to take the firefighter to meet her husband. After taking her to the area where Sangwook is lying, the doctor is ambushed by a group of soldiers, tossed, and escorted away. Returning to the journey of the Green Home group, after a long journey with no place to rest, the boy Yong-soo finally can't take it anymore and asks the soldier Chan-yong to stop the car for a moment so he can relieve himself. However, as soon as the two uncles get out of the car, Jae-hwan, the cowardly guy who is driven mad by his appearance, suddenly transforms and squeezes the little girl Soo-young, who is standing nearby, to death. Seeing this, the cold Uncle Ho-sang quickly shoots and wounds the guy and urges everyone to run away. In pain, the monster becomes more and more insane. Its roar is so deafening that it makes ordinary people's eardrums burst. Taking advantage of the monster's concentration on screaming, Jisoo bravely sacrifices her hearing and lights a fire to burn the person in front of her alive. The late-night attack finally ends with losses for the human side. The little girl Soo-young has passed away, and the car is also severely damaged. With no means of transportation, the group trudges along in the night and finally arrives at the nearest concentration camp, located in the stadium. Here, Uncle Ho-sang and the soldier Chanyang say goodbye to everyone, and then the three groups split into three paths, finding their own way to survive. Sergeant In Hwan has just returned to the barracks and is suddenly ordered that he and the entire Black Crow platoon will have to be discharged from midnight tonight. Too indignant at this decision, he immediately finds General Han to find out the details and is told that the concentration camp is not as safe as everyone thinks. After revealing this shocking truth to Sergeant Tak, the general shoots himself with a gun. The commander of the Black Crow platoon is shocked and hurriedly searches through the remaining documents on the table, hoping to find any clues to his superior's pessimism. At the same time, at the stadium concentration camp, the initial Green Home group needs to go through 2 steps of inspection to get a safety certificate, which is enough to enter their new residence. However, in the middle of the process, the loudspeaker suddenly announces the cancellation of the classification and allows everyone to enter the camp together. After being knocked unconscious by a stun gun, Dr. Lim wakes up before the curious and hopeful eyes of the Prime Minister and the people in the military command. It turns out that they have found the briefcase containing the vaccine that the doctor had lost, and they need Dr. Lim to quickly unlock it so that they can be injected with the first doses of the drug before their bodies transform. However, contrary to everyone's expectations, the inside of the briefcase is completely empty because Dr. Lim had hidden the vaccine from the very beginning. Enraged at being played by the doctor, the South Korean Prime Minister shoots through the doctor's hand and then presses the button to launch several missiles at the stadium concentration camp to force Dr. Lim to reveal the location of the hidden medicine. The missiles streak through the sky like shooting stars, but they don't bring any wishes. Instead, they demolish the strong building, claiming the lives of hundreds of thousands of people. The entire stadium immediately becomes chaotic, and everyone uses every means to try to survive. Even though he sees tens of thousands of people dying minute by minute on the screen, Dr. Lim still refuses to reveal where the vaccine is hidden. This annoys the Prime Minister, who orders him to be shot. Before the gun can be fired, the Black Crow platoon rushes in, shooting and killing the entire group of high-ranking officials sitting in the room, and then cancels the missile launch order. The Prime Minister then reveals his monster form, lunging at Sergeant In Hwan, but fortunately, his teammate Yang, who manages to rescue him in time and kills him with a flamethrower. Afterward, the Black Crow group attaches detonating devices to the monster storage rooms in the Bansium area and quickly withdraws. Not far away, Ui Myung has completely healed Sang-wook's physical body. He uses his power to break the locks, freeing all the monsters of Bansium before the bomb explodes. Then, he goes to find Hyun-soo. At this point, Hyun-soo has almost gone mad from the torture of the research team, but Ui Myung no longer wants to save Hyun-soo. He will abandon him to let him witness the final end of greedy humanity. Pushed to the limit of endurance, Hyun-soo transforms into a monster, engaging in a one-on-one fight with the parasitic individual. But this time, things are different. Ui Myung has continued to evolve, learning how to rot the tentacles on Hyun-soo's body, thereby neutralizing the main character's power. As for Lee-kyung, after being led by Dr. Lim, she has found the room where her husband's body is stored. But contrary to the calmness we have seen before, Sang-wook's eyes are wide open at this point, and all the tubes in his body have been pulled out, leaving blood all over his body. He is screaming violently, seeing the strange image of the person she loves. The firefighter suddenly goes into labor. Her few-week-old stomach suddenly swells, and the baby is constantly thrashing violently, causing Lee-kyung to turn blue with pain. Suddenly, she hears the ticking of the bomb echoing in the room. Knowing that something bad is about to happen, Lee-kyung has to suppress the pain and find a way to escape from the research area. On the way across the glacier, her labor process is sped up 10 times. Amniotic fluid begins to break, and the baby in Lee-kyung's belly tries its best to crawl out. While she is writhing in the pain of childbirth, the ice on top can't withstand the weight and breaks apart, submerging both Lee-kyung and her child in the freezing water. The The severe abdominal pain and the harsh temperature of the water cause the firefighter to completely lose consciousness, gradually sinking to the bottom of the river. However, the monster child in Kyung's belly reaches out with its elongated umbilical cord and grabs hold of the shore, pulling both itself and its mother to the surface. At the stadium, the surprise attack has ended, and Eun-yu, just recovering, limps to check on the condition of her teammates. Nearby, she finds Ji-soo holding the boy Yang-soo tightly in her arms. Both are still alive, but Ji-soo's shin is pierced by a nail. However, the place they are lying is not safe either. The wall in front of them shows signs of cracking. Soon, it will shatter and fall on top of the two siblings. Seeing this, Ji-soo shakes the boy awake and urges Yang-soo to run far away from the dangerous place, while she chooses to bury herself in this place. The Black Crow rescue team finally arrives at the stadium, working quickly to save the survivors and using a nearby subway station as their new shelter. Here, they meet Ji's group, and together they build a new community, fighting against the pandemic. 337 days after the monsterization outbreak, life for the community residing in the subway station has finally stabilized. They have a supervisory team that commands and oversees the community's activities. This team includes a security force that is constantly stationed at the entrances to prevent any monster attacks from the outside. To maintain order and ensure safety in the new community, the security team conducts daily roll calls and searches of residents. Anyone who runs away or shows signs of infection is dealt with immediately. Also, healthy men who have served in the military must take turns going on missions to the surface to search for food, water, and medicine for everyone. However, this seemingly dangerous job has inadvertently become a privilege for those who work hard and earn their keep, because they have the right to take what they like and find the medicines they need. As a result, many cowardly guys who don't qualify to go outside are envious and resentful of the surface mission team. Sang Jin and Dong Ji are two such individuals. After being stripped of their right to go on missions, they beg Captain Ji to put in a good word with the supervisory team so they can go outside. Captain Ji quickly agrees, in exchange for these two guys taking her place in monitoring all of Eun-yu's movements. Speaking of the Green Home Group, after just over a year, everyone has changed completely. Eun-yu is no longer the sassy, innocent girl, but has become a cold young woman, shunned by the entire community. Driven by the desire to find her brother, Eun-yu frequently escapes from the supervisory team, using missions as an excuse to find her way back to her old apartment building. Noticing Eun-yu preparing to leave home, Sang Jin and Dong Ji exchange glances and secretly follow the girl to the surface. Halfway there, they discover the simple-minded Jun-il is also following them. Thinking that they can use him as a living shield if they encounter monsters, the two cowards allow Jun-il to come along. Unaware of the three guys following her, Eun-yu follows the trail of red ribbons as usual, hoping to find the person who saved her in the past. On the way, after seeing too many convenience stores and edible food, Sang Jin becomes greedy. He wants to take the path that Eun-yu found for himself, and to do that, he and Dong Ji have to kill her. Not wanting to engage in any killings, Jun-il separates from the group and wanders everywhere, eventually getting lost in a beautiful greenhouse area. Before his eyes appears a beautiful girl who is like an angel. Unable to restrain himself, he reaches out to wake her up, but strangely, as soon as he touches her, the simple-minded guy becomes dazed, and his skin begins to fester. Meanwhile, the surface mission team is scouring the area to replenish fuel and ammunition and search for food. While his teammates aren't paying attention, Sergeant Yong-suk secretly goes to the university hospital to find medicine for his girlfriend Jin-a. The remaining people in the residential area, after the mission team leaves, are assigned by Captain Ji to repair the electrical room outside the building. The whole team is working hard when the mother of the simple-minded guy, Jun-il, suddenly runs away. She runs and runs, finally stepping on a mine used to trap monsters, and shows the first symptoms of infection, a constant nosebleed. To save the old woman, Sergeant In Hwan and the supervisory team arrive to find the safest way to defuse the bomb. As for Eun-yu, with her strong survival instincts, she repeatedly escapes from the guns of her two neighbors and flees into a warehouse. Here, Dong Ji and Sang Jin encounter the beautiful girl in the greenhouse. Contrary to her saintly appearance, she is actually a monster with the ability to control minds and cause the flesh of those who touch her to rot. She quickly manipulates the two cowardly, selfish guys into harming each other, then turns to rescue Eun-yu, who is currently under attack by cement monsters. Again rescued by the red armband, Eun-yu cries out her brother's name and begs Eun-hyuk to show himself. However, there is no Eun-hyuk here. Standing before her is a strange girl wearing the red band and a grotesque monster constantly twitching beside her. Seeing Sang-jin's corpse sprawled on the ground, Eun-yu calls the girl to her side to avoid the dangerous monster, unaware that the person in front of her is its master. What's even more peculiar is that the strange girl seems to know a lot about Eun-yu. Before leaving with her pack of monsters, she continues to resent Eun-yu for making everything disappear. Over a year after leaving the Green Home Group, the cold Uncle Ho-sang has now found a new companion, a young woman named Hani. The two live day to day, wandering the back alleys of Seoul. At the subway station settlement, the loud explosion from the bomb outside the stadium has set off a red alert. Although fortunately, there were no casualties or property damage, the sound will draw hundreds of monsters to this location. Understanding the severity of the situation, the surface mission team has no choice but to abandon the missing Sergeant Yong-suk and urgently rush to the rescue. Under the command of Sergeant Yong-hoo, the team detonates a gas station as far away as possible and eliminates any monsters that approach. The plan is a success, and the subway station and stadium temporarily return to a safe state. After accidentally stepping on a mine, the old woman is extremely remorseful and admits that she has been infected and will not live much longer because of her cancer. Before leaving this world, she wants to see her son one last time. To ease her mind, Soldier Park Chan-young promises to find the simple-minded Jun Il and bring him back. Fortunately, on the way back, the surface mission team finds Jun Il collapsed near the settlement and takes him to the infirmary. While examining the guy's condition, Dr. Lim and Private Chan-young discover a very strange ulcer on his right arm. As a precaution, the doctor will keep Jun Il at the infirmary for further monitoring. However, the more he looks at the wound, the more he feels that it is not normal. Taking a blood sample from Jun Il to examine under a microscope, Dr. Lim is surprised to discover that this guy has likely turned into a monster. He hurriedly returns to the infirmary to find Jun Il, but ultimately cannot find him anywhere. It turns out that as soon as this guy woke up, he immediately went back home to find his mother, but he couldn't find her anywhere. Seeing the little boy Yang-soo standing nearby, Jun Il hurriedly asks if he has seen his mother anywhere, but the boy rudely says that his mother has turned into a monster and sooner or later she will be killed by everyone. Hearing this, the guy runs out and bangs on the front door, shouting to see his mother. Just then, Dr. Lim arrives, and he takes him back to the infirmary, asking him along the way who he met on the surface. But Jun Il, who is intellectually disabled, has difficulty communicating, so he can only describe the situation that morning with a few disjointed and nonsensical words, and then runs off again to find a way to meet his mother. The doctor quickly knocks the guy unconscious and checks for his monsterization symptoms, but finds nothing. Too surprised by Jun Il's body's reaction, Dr. Lim tries to inject him with an effective stimulant to trigger the monsterization process. Back with the Black Crow group, although they protected the stadium from the monsters, that means the soldiers had to abandon Sergeant Yong-suk on the surface. That night, the team tries to find the signal of their teammate, but the result is nothing. Too tired after the monster extermination that morning, many people are hesitant about the plan to go back to find the sergeant, and also believe that Yong-suk has likely deserted. However, Sergeant Yang, who still firmly believes that Sergeant Choi is not such a cowardly person. They inquire everywhere to find clues and learn that before going on the surface mission, Yong-suk promised his girlfriend Jean A that he would find medicine to treat her illness. Therefore, his disappearance is likely related to this promise. Returning from Dr. Lim's infirmary, Private Chan-young unexpectedly meets Father Peter. The priest reveals to him that that morning Jun Il, along with the duo Sang-jin and Dong Ji-I, had followed Eun-yu to the surface, but upon returning, the other two are missing, and Jun Il was wounded and unconscious. Worried that the group may have encountered monsters on the way, Chan-young follows Eun-yu down to the sewer area. First, he thinks the girl is planning to sneak out again as usual, but it turns out she is just visiting and feeding a small kitten. Even so, Chan-young has learned the reason why Eun-yu has been frequently going on unauthorized missions to the surface. She wants to find the monster holding the red ribbon that saved her years ago. Chan-young still remembers that fateful day when Captain Ji's husband and Eun-yu were attacked by monsters. Both were extremely badly injured, But Unyu was the only one to survive, and her wounds were bandaged by the monster with a red ribbon. This is why Captain G hates Unyu so much and always believes that the girl is the one who murdered her husband. The monster girl with the red band on her arm suddenly appears at the entrance to the sewer, promising to lead Unyu to her brother if she is willing to come with her. Intrigued by the offer, Unyu is preparing to take the girl's deadly hand when Kyung suddenly appears. The former firefighter uses a gun to suppress the monster girl and immediately takes her away. Back at the house on the train, reunited with an old acquaintance, Unyu hurriedly runs after Kyung, hoping to inquire about her brother Hyuk. Private Chan Yong, seeing this, also quickly follows Unyu, running straight into the forest in front of him. Night has fallen. The deep forest is full of monsters, and Kyung has disappeared without a trace. Chan Yong tries to persuade Unyu to stop before putting herself in danger, but the stubborn girl refuses to listen. Unyu runs forward again, eventually causing both herself and Chan Yong to fall into an intricately designed trap set in the middle of the forest. Thanks to Chan Yong's ingenuity, the two safely jump to the bottom of the pit, avoiding the deadly, sharp spikes. Meanwhile, having just woken up from Dr. Lim's stimulant drugs, the simple-minded Jun Il has gone to the isolation room to meet his mother. Throughout his childhood, he has always lived in pain and helplessness, unable to help his mother escape from her illness. Jun Il has long been accustomed to the lies that his mother is healthier, that his mother has completely recovered. Therefore, when he hears his mother boast about her health again, he knows she is just trying to reassure him. But Jun Il is a good son. Now he has a way to help his mother. He gives her a bottle of herbicide, because only death can truly make the disease and pain disappear. This is very difficult, Jun Il knows, so he tries hard to open his mother's mouth wide so she can drink it quickly. However, the transformation process is the monster's golden time, when its regenerative ability is at its highest level. The mother cannot die from the herbicide. Jun Il goes crazy when he sees the woman he just killed get up again. He takes the nail on the door and stabs his mother repeatedly, stabbing and hissing in resentment until his whole body explodes like fireworks, splattering blood and gore everywhere. Regretting that he had ruined the experimental subject, Dr. Lim finds Sergeant In Huan and tells him the whole story, but the commander doesn't care about the truth. What he cares about is how to maintain order in the residential area and maintain the belief of the majority. Having said that, Sergeant Tak sets fire to the isolation room, quietly erasing all traces of the horrifying murder that occurred just minutes ago. 24 turbulent hours pass, dawn breaks, and a new day arrives. Captain G returns home after a long night of hard work. She searches for her personal notebook and strokes a picture of her family from the past. Suddenly, Yi Sul, a confidant of the captain, enters the room, causing her to quickly hide the item. Over the loudspeaker, Sergeant Tak announces that last night, the mother of the simple-minded Jun Il had a seizure and killed her son. The bodies of both of them have since been handled by the supervisory team. Hearing this shocking news, Captain G immediately runs to the isolation area to find her. Clearly, yesterday she had promised to help her. Yesterday she said she would voluntarily leave, but in the morning everything had fallen apart. However, not only are Jun Il and his mother missing from the settlement, but Sang Jin, Dong Ji, Park Chan Yong, and Unyu have also disappeared without a trace. No guards have recorded these 4 people passing through the main gate. The supervisory team suspects that there must be another secret exit in the residential building, and splits up to search everywhere. Sergeant Tak finds Captain G and demands that she reveal the second way to the surface after the main gate. But the woman is uncooperative and seems to be hiding something. Back with the duo Chan Yong and Unyu, who have been stuck in the deep pit for almost a day, but have not found any way to climb out. Powerless to change the present, Unyu decides to open up to Chan Yong about the person she has been searching for so long. The young girl longs to meet her brother again, even if he has turned into an ugly monster. Just then, a rope is thrown down to the bottom of the pit. The 2 unlucky people rely on each other, step by step, to escape from the trap. But as soon as they reach the top, they're caught in a monster raid by the cold Uncle Ho Sang. Unwilling to get involved with strangers, Ho Sang drives them away as soon as he sees them. Only Hani is fascinated by Chan Yong's appearance and demands to keep him at home. However, after falling into the pit last night, Chan Yong's leg was severely injured, making it difficult for him to walk back to the settlement with Unyu. Therefore, She decides to use him as bait to solicit Hani's compassion so she can get him treated. Unexpectedly, the two are forced into the warehouse by Ho-sang for the reason of preventing them from becoming monsters. At midnight, Hani suddenly opens the door and releases Unyu, while she goes to take care of and lie next to Chanyang. The young soldier wakes up not long after. When he sees that his companion has disappeared, Chanyang gently thanks Hani and asks her to let him return. But there's no way Hani can let her handsome prey escape so soon. She places a bowl of strangely colored blue water in front of him and tells him to drink it all before he can leave. As for Kyung, we learn that the girl wearing the red band is actually the daughter the firefighter gave birth to on the ice that year. Because she carried monster blood from the womb. Even as a child, the little girl possessed many strange abilities, including accelerating the transformation process in humans through mere touch and controlling monsters. Fearing that her child would harm other human settlements, Kyung had no choice but to lock her in the ship floating on the river. She knew that she had been too harsh with her child and sat down on the ground in great pain. Kyung once had a happy life with her baby. Only one day, the survivors discovered the ship and tried to hunt down and exterminate her family. Unable to do anything to Kyung, the perverts tried to shoot and kill her young child. At that moment, the small body, which had been shot full of arrows by the villains, suddenly transformed. In just a few seconds, the child, who was only about 2 or 3 years old, grew into a teenage girl. Immediately, she used her ability to turn her enemies into monsters and then control them to harm each other. Since that fateful day, Kyung has completely changed her view of the child. She sees her as a germ, a threat that could kill humanity. Deep in thought, Kyung suddenly realizes that the ship she's on is on fire. She rushes into the room to save the child and then finds a way to escape, unaware that this is her plan. With her mind control abilities, the little girl has long been able to read her mother's deepest thoughts. She knows Kyung is very afraid of her, and that she wants her to disappear from this world, but is bound by maternal love. Therefore, today's fire will be the most logical excuse for the child and Kyung to break free from each other. Having said that, the little girl falls off the boat into the river. Seeing this, she quickly jumps after her. But after searching for a long time, she can't find her child. At the subway station settlement, a series of events has occurred. Yang, who has received a Morse code SOS from the missing Sergeant Choi and pinpointed his location. Dr. Lim accidentally learns that Sergeant Tak is likely infected with the monster disease and is showing signs of PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, and decides to use it to negotiate with the commander. He will keep in Hwan's mental illness a secret in exchange for the sergeant taking Dr. Lim back to the test area. After Jun Il's incident, the doctor has not had a good night's sleep because the monsterization process that he thought he had grasped in his heart has developed a loophole. If he returns to Bansium, Dr. Lim can conduct research and find a way to restrain and slow down the monsterization process in humans, or in other words, develop a drug to create special infected individuals. After being released from Ho-sang's warehouse, Unyu wanders in the dark, searching for the former neighbor. She unexpectedly meets the girl holding the red band again and is about to ask about Kyung when she is pushed hard by the person in front of her, falling into a deep pit. Thinking she would be torn apart on the ground, Unyu is rescued by Hyun-soo in monster form. Flashback again, back to the time when Kyung gave birth to her first child on the cold ice. Seeing the black monster baby devouring the umbilical cord, she really wanted to kill it, but ultimately couldn't bring herself to do it. Kyung decides to abandon her child, letting it live or die on its own. Just then, Hyun-soo, after his battle with Ui Myung, is also coming to the glacier. Feeling sorry for the abandoned child, he reaches out to rescue it, and together they create a warm home. After a period of time, Kyung hears about their whereabouts and finds her way to the two brothers, because she has always regretted abandoning her child and also causing the child to carry monster blood from birth. Therefore, when she sees the child grow up looking like a normal human, she feels like a burden has been lifted and takes the child back to live with her on the boat. She finally gets to enjoy peaceful days with her family. However, deep in Kyung's heart, she is always worried and anxious that one day her child's monster blood will erupt, and sure enough, on the day when those villains mistreated the child, Kyung's beloved baby disappeared, leaving only a bloodthirsty monster waiting to harm humanity. In the present, after being pushed into the abyss by the little girl, Unyu is rescued by Hyun-soo, But the boy in front of her has no intention of shaking hands and asking how she is doing. He rescued her from the accident just now, or at the subway station a year ago, all because of previous kindness, but now they are two completely different species. Seeing Eun-yu stubbornly running towards him, Hyun-soo uses his arm to fan a sharp line as a warning, but the girl is an extremely stubborn person. The more Hyun-soo forbids it, the more Eun-yu does it. Not wanting to see her waste her life with the monster, Uncle Ho-sang, who is nearby, runs out to stop her and drive Hyun-soo and the girl with the red ribbon away. The truth has now fallen into place. There is no Lee Eun-hyuk. The one who has always been secretly rescuing and supporting Eun-yu from the beginning has always been Hyun-soo. On the way back, he asks the little girl why she harmed him and learns that the child hates Eun-yu and all of humanity. Because of Eun-yu and because of humans, so many of her monster friends have been killed. They hurt her, screamed at her, and drove her away, leaving her all alone. However, an equally big reason why she hates humans is because of her mother, Lee-kyung. That's why she set fire to the boat, and her own mother, too. She wants humanity to pay for their actions. At Lee-kyung's house, all four sides are now surrounded by furniture and soaring flames. Despite being a former firefighter, she has no way to save herself. Having lost her child and her fiancé, Lee-kyung no longer has any motivation to live. She slumps down next to a pile of cloth, slowly succumbing to death. Suddenly, a small monster, her best friend, appears. It frantically tries to find a way to save Lee-kyung. Hyun-soo, after hearing the child's confession, also rushes to the boat and successfully rescues the little monster and his former comrade. Lee-kyung wakes up, and regret surges through her mind again. She really doesn't have the right to be a mother. Only because of her own fear and anxiety has she raised her daughter to become as twisted as she is now. She is the one who turned her into a monster. Hearing this, Hyun-soo retorts that Lee-kyung and the other monsters are no more guilty than humans. They also have hearts, feelings, and awareness because after all, both come from the same origin. Speaking of Uncle Ho-sang, returning home after a night of hunting, he sees his tent shaking incessantly. Fearing that monsters have found him, Ho-sang runs as fast as he can into the house, only to find Hani constantly force-feeding Chan-yong, his face turning blue and his mouth foaming white. It turns out that while Eun-yu and Ho-sang were away, the crazy girl gave Chan-yong too many hallucinogenic mushrooms, nearly killing him. Seeing this, the uncle goes to pick medicinal herbs to detoxify Chan-yong. At the same time, Sergeant Yong, who, along with Dr. Lim and his close brothers, is preparing to set off for Bansiam to find Sergeant Yong-suk. While traveling in the middle of the road, the doctor suddenly shouts that he needs to stop to go to the bathroom, but in reality, he is secretly stealing a sample from a monster that is waiting. The group is suddenly attacked by a herd of rock monsters. Thanks to the ingenuity of the Black Crow team, the caravan quickly escapes their pursuit of them. But this makes Dr. Lim extremely surprised, because in his opinion, humans who fall into a state of monsterization completely lose their ability to recognize each other. They cannot recognize each other, let alone one species being able to gather together in one place. Yet the rock monster group just now was not only able to operate in groups, but they also knew how to attack the same target. Setting aside the strange story from before, the group then smoothly drives straight to the Bansiam laboratory. Here, they split into two groups. Sergeant Yong-hoo and Sergeant Suk-chan will escort Dr. Lim to the laboratory, while Sergeant Seo-jin and the remaining brothers will search for Sergeant Yong-suk. As soon as the most elite squad of the Black Crows leaves, something unexpected happens in the settlement. A loud sound suddenly comes from inside the sewer, and everyone's phones constantly issue urgent warnings, signaling that monsters have appeared in this place. Sergeant Tak immediately convenes a special roll call to control the number of people in the settlement and announces that he will manage the place according to a dictatorship. Anyone who is infected and anyone who hides them will be killed immediately. The entire supervisory team then makes cuts to prove that they are not infected, except for Sergeant Tak. Having never liked this commander, Captain G speaks out, demanding that he also cut his hand to prove his health status. In Hwan, though a little hesitant, still makes a deep cut for everyone to inspect. Because he had been infected before, his wound naturally gradually healed, but at the most important moment, the lights in the area suddenly went out. Captain G, taking advantage of the chaos caused by the power outage, runs straight back to her room, grabs a flashlight, and cautiously opens the secret door. Sergeant Seo Jin, following Yong-suk's tracking device, gradually moves deeper into the Bansium area. Although he is fully armed, he still feels extremely uneasy about this area. Something is lurking here, secretly watching the soldiers. That ghostly thing quickly eats one of the two soldiers accompanying him and lures the entire group into a deadly room. The situation is no better for Sergeant Yang-hu's team. Although they are led by Dr. Lim, the explosion from years ago has distorted the passageways, making the search for the laboratory more difficult than ever. But finding the way is just a trivial problem because where they are standing is Bansium, the monster research center, and what is being held here is not only ordinary monsters, but also a myriad of special infected individuals who are transforming. On the way to Dr. Lim's laboratory, the group accidentally sees a large monster heart with blood vessels, as thick as electrical wires wrapped tightly around the walls. The monsters are continuing to evolve. They were once humans who transformed into monsters, and now they are changing their genetic code again due to natural selection. Too shocked by this discovery, Dr. Lim insists on staying in the room with the large heart to study it, and urges the soldiers to quickly return to the entrance of the building to find group number 2. As for Chan Yang, after eating the antidote leaves, he has been fortunate enough to escape death, not wanting to drive them away right after saving his life. Ho Sang invites Eun-yu and Chan Yang for a small meal before the two return to the settlement. Before they can even pick up their chopsticks, the group sees Hyun-soo carrying Lee-kyung towards them. He has come to ask for help because both Hyun-soo and Lee-kyung have lost their homes, and they have nowhere else to go. However, Ho Sang and Hani are both people who will never tolerate monsters. Seeing that the duo Eun-yu and Chan Yang intend to cover up and help the enemy, the two angrily get in the car and speed away. The supervisory team at the settlement has confirmed that while everyone was in the main hall for roll call, someone or something deliberately went down to the power room and cut the wire, causing the widespread power outage that is currently happening. Sergeant Tak checks the surrounding areas and finds Isol's ring, a confidant of Captain Ji, lying neatly at the foot of the stairs. She is quickly arrested and taken to the interrogation room. In the middle of the night, Captain Ji unexpectedly finds Sung-won, the cowardly bookworm from the green home apartment, asking for help. But in reality, she knew that this guy was infected and wanted to use this secret to get rid of him. Captain Ji tricks Sung-won into the room inside the secret door and kicks him hard onto the ground. At the Bansium Research Center, Group 2 of Sergeant Min, after Woo-suk's death, is still determined to find Sergeant Yong-suk. But the deeper they go into the test area, the more the two soldiers feel that there is really something wrong with this place. While frightened of being attacked by humanoid monsters, Group 2 is rescued by a strange man who invites them to a safe place to take refuge. However, as soon as they step into the place he points to, the man locks the entrance, trapping the two soldiers in the laboratory. Sharing the same ideals as his teammates, Sergeant Yang-hu and Sergeant Suk-chan, after leaving Dr. Lim in the room with the monster heart, quickly search for the missing Sergeant Choi. In an examination room, they discover a girl cowering in a wardrobe locker. After questioning her for a while, the person says that she saw a soldier come here a few days ago and is willing to lead the two soldiers to him. Saying goodbye to Ho Sang's group, the three people Chan Yang, Eun-yu, and Hyun-soo quickly take Lee-kyung to the nearest infirmary for emergency treatment, because the fire has caused the firefighter to suffer from severe carbon monoxide poisoning. However, this area has run out of medical oxygen cylinders, and they no longer have the strength or the time to take Lee-kyung to another hospital. The three people look at each other helplessly. They can only let the poisonous gas gradually erode their old teammate's body. Although they can't save her, at least Hyun-soo wants Lee-kyung's daughter to have a chance to meet her one last time. Thinking this, he hurries to find the girl with the red band to bring her to the infirmary to visit her mother. However, the little girl has never been raised in the human world. She doesn't know what death is or what heartbreak is. To her, humans are so evil and also so weak. But if she holds their hand, they will become more obedient and live longer. Therefore, when she sees her mother dying on the table, she gently takes her hand and leaves. As soon as Hyun-soo sees her come out, he rushes in and hugs Lee-kyung's now cold body. He cries sadly for his friend, his teammate, and his second family. But just as the little girl said, Lee-kyung will not die because her handshake has turned her mother into a monster. Half of the girl's body suddenly turns pitch black, and her skin is ulcerated as if it has just been burned to a crisp. Lee-kyung writhes on the ground, her two selves struggling to gain control of her mind. In her life, Lee-kyung had always been torn between her maternal instincts and the monster within her. Ironically, now that she has been transformed, she has become a half-human, half-monster. Just waking up from the dead and being controlled by the monster part of her, Kyung rushes to attack Hyun-soo. At first, the two sides fight evenly, but in the end, Hyun-soo uses his thorn wing to knock the monster Kyung off the cliff. Before killing her with his own hands, he was able to see all of Kyung's deepest desires. The firefighter has long been very afraid of her daughter. She both wanted to shoot her to death and wanted to hug her. In this way, Kyung has always been trapped in a never-ending cycle of pain, and even until she became a monster, the poor woman did not find happiness. Thus, the journey of four people has come to an end. Kyung lies at the abyss, Chan-young returns to the camp alone, and Eun-yu chooses to stay with Hyun-soo. Meanwhile, Ho-sang and Hani drive to a remote place with no trace of humans. Taking a big gulp of wine, Uncle Ho-sang steps out to check the road conditions, but suddenly feels dizzy. It turns out that Hani, the person he trusts most, has drugged him and knocked his companion unconscious. Once she is sure that Ho-sang is completely unconscious, the girl drags him into the mobile home in the back and drives away on her own to find a new land. Speaking of the Black Crow team's dangerous rescue mission at Banseum, Group 1 of Sergeant Yang, who is now following the new girl to the location of Sergeant Choi. In all the scenarios that they have drawn up before, nothing is as absurd as what the two people are seeing before their eyes. Sergeant Yong-suk has been stripped naked by the special infected individuals in Banseum and locked in a cell. To find a way to free his subordinate, Sergeant Yang, who is forced to follow the girl to the people who are running things here. But these people have never intended to let Yong-suk leave. Very quickly, the monsters gradually isolate the elite soldiers of the Black Crows and then brutally kill them. Not far away, Dr. Lim is lying and chatting enthusiastically with the giant heart when footsteps suddenly ring out from somewhere. It is Ui Myong, who has now become the lord of this place. In the past, he was a friend, the first experimental subject, and also the person who was most terribly tortured by Dr. Lim. He is Sang-wook. In the corner of the first floor of the Green Home apartment, the large cocoon that we saw in episode 2 bursts open, revealing a naked young man. Inside, there are no familiar glasses and no trademark checkered jacket. Eun-hyuk, from inside the cocoon, is born again, but this time he is a monster. Going back to the fateful battle more than a year ago, when Ui Myong, now Sang-wook, used his power to decompose Hyun-soo's entire physical body, he numbly waited for death in the darkness. Hyun-soo once again meets the monster inside himself, and it promises to help him achieve everything he has ever desired. Kind friends, a happy family, and it will save him from this harsh reality. But Hyun-soo knows that the images the monster brings are just unreal dreams, and that he wants to face difficulties and become a better version of himself. Therefore, the necrotic skin immediately dries like cement and crumbles, and Hyun-soo, unharmed, stumbles out of Banseum. The rest of the story is as we know it. Hyun-soo adopts Kyung's daughter, and later, together with the firefighter, they build a warm little house on the boat. However, as seen in the ending of Season 2, Hyun-soo personally pushes Kyung in monster form off the cliff. This action has left the human part of Hyun-soo deep in remorse and suffering. He keeps thinking about Kyung's monsterization process and her deepest desires. It seems that Kyung was forced to become a monster. She didn't surrender to her desires and kept running away from it. Therefore, Hyun-soo thinks that there must be a way to help Kyung return to being human. Thinking is doing. He quickly jumps down the cliff to find the place that buried his unfortunate neighbor and tries to enter her mind one more time. At Banseum, Sang-wook and Dr. Lim have officially reunited after months of separation. In the past, Sang-wook was both a friend and the first experimental subject of Dr. Lim. However, the crazy doctor constantly injected into Sang-wook's head the idea that Kyung, his fiancée, was dead, and constantly tried every means to chop Sang-wook into 1,000 pieces. This drove him crazy and made him want to escape from those inhumane experiments. From then on, Sang-wook began to evolve. He separated himself from his human flesh and became a red, slimy mass that could parasitize any dead body. Now that the happy reunion is over, Sang-wook takes his old friend to meet MH and the many other special infected individuals of Dr. Lim, who are now escorting Yang-who's group to the monster cage. Hating the disgusting experiments carried out in the name of science that Dr. Lim had conducted, the special infected individuals, having gained power, reversed roles, using the surviving soldiers to entertain the monsters. They want to push the limits of humans to the extreme to make humans develop desires and then turn them into monsters. In this experiment, Sergeant Yang, who is forced to choose between 3 soldiers, and every hasty action he takes will cost the life of a teammate. After thinking carefully, the sergeant decides to cut the rope hanging Seo Jin and then jump down the cliff with him to escape from the monsters. This choice disappoints Sang-wook. He orders the whole group to be killed, but the little girl Ja-young can't bring herself to do it, so she decides to let them live or die on their own. Fortunately, of the Black Crow team that went to Banseum, Sergeant Suk-chan is still alive. He uses all his strength to hold a flamethrower and provide backup to the two teammates. Having feelings for this soldier, the little girl Ja-young uses her power to help them fight against the monsters in the cage. The great show has ended. Ja-young takes Dr. Lim out to the car to meet Sang-wook, and together they return to the subway station. Meanwhile, after learning that his confidant was captured by the Guardian team, Captain G quickly took Yisul to escape through the sewers, but she was unreasonable and turned to question the captain why he had abandoned her earlier. Having said that, Captain G, without any further hiding, pulls the girl into the secret room where the cowardly guy Sung-won was once locked. Turns out that a year ago, both Captain G's husband and son had turned into monsters, but only her life partner was killed without mercy, while her son was quickly locked by her in the secret room where the sewer is located. Since then, Captain G has been tricking the people she dislikes or those showing signs of monsterization down here to feed her son. Witnessing the captain's terrifying secret, Yisul, at that moment, immediately grabs a stick and slams it hard on the back of the evil woman's head. This sound attracts the attention of Sergeant In Hwan, helping him find that deadly room and quickly rescue Yisul and the captain from the sewer monster. As for Park Chan-young, after saying goodbye to Eun-yu, he meets Hani again, the strange girl who almost killed him before. The two return to the abyss to pick up Ik-kyung and unexpectedly encounter the spider monster. Suddenly, Ik-kyung's screams ring out from the ground, drawing the monster's attention and making it rush towards Hyun-soo. Seeing this, the three people create a pulley to take Eun-yu and Chan-young down to the bottom of the abyss to rescue the two special infected individuals. Mortal humans fighting against immortal monsters, no matter how you look at it. This is an unbalanced battle. Predicting that things would turn bad, Chan-young signals to pull Eun-yu to the surface first, while he focuses on awakening Hyun-soo and then flies with them to the shore. A little later, thanks to his teammates from the dead, Ik-kyung is once again revived as a human. Waking up from a long dream, Ik-kyung quickly runs to find her benefactor Hyun-soo, only to learn that since coming out of the abyss, he has not been able to regain his human form. But time waits for no one. The baby that Ik-kyung gave birth to may have committed countless sins while she was unconscious. Therefore, even though she can't thank her kind benefactor, Ik-kyung must set out to find her child before it's too late. While Eun-yu is taking care of the duo Ik-kyung and Hyun-soo, Chan-young and Hani are together repairing the car and searching for food. Thanks to this, the young soldier learns that Uncle Ho-sang is actually both a lifesaver and the person who always inhibits her desire to live life to the fullest. Because, unlike the gruff uncle who has lost faith in humanity, Hani is always eager to connect with people. The young girl is afraid of monsters, but she doesn't think they are a different species from her. And when she witnesses the miracle that Hyun-soo brings to Ik-kyung, Hani has even more reason to believe that one day the pandemic will truly end, and that the people who have been transformed into monsters will be cured. Speaking of Sang-wook's new humanity group, traveling from Banseum, the car goes straight to the settlement at the subway station next to the stadium. Here, he reveals to Dr. Lim that a year ago he had met Ik-kyung and her unusually large belly. Because he couldn't meet his wife and children directly as usual, Sang-wook added some of his genes to Ik-kyung's baby, so that when the baby grew up, Sang-wook could recognize it. And this time, he has caught the signal of his child in the subway shelter. Sure enough, after saying goodbye to her mother, Ik-kyung's baby has found her way to the stadium, hiding in the drain and looking at the people living there. Suddenly, the girl is found by Jisoo and taken to her aunt, Cha Jin-ok. Just then, a loud sound rings out from the main gate. Sang-wook leads his new humanity team into the subway shelter to find his daughter. He threatens the supervisory team, forcing them to submit while he becomes the new leader here. Accordingly, all regulations on isolating and eliminating the infected are abolished, and the monsterization process is promoted by the new humanity team as a blessing from God. That night at the infirmary area, Ho-sang, locked in the van by Hani, started showing the first symptoms. Not wanting to implicate the other survivors, he escaped from the car and tried to run as far away as possible. A little later, Hani brought the antidote to her benefactor, only to discover what had happened. The girl immediately runs to Hyun-soo's room, begging him to turn Ho-sang back into a human. But Hyun-soo is still unconscious, so how can he save anyone? Outside the door, Ho-sang, losing control due to the transformation, repeatedly slams his head against the steering wheel of a car, causing the horn to sound loudly in the middle of the night. This is a very serious matter because the loud sound will attract monsters to this location. So Chan-young will rush to Ho-sang and Hani, and Eun-yu will return to the room to wake Hyun-soo up so they can run away together. Not wanting to live as a monster and also knowing that Hani won't be able to kill him, Ho-sang uses all his remaining sanity to drive the car hard into a gas tank, setting himself on fire. This inadvertently allows the monsters to pinpoint the location where the group is sheltering. Just then, Hyun-soo wakes up and helps them dispel the danger before their eyes. But he himself becomes the next fear that Eun-yu and Chan-young must face. Dealing with the raging monster Hyun-soo alone is impossible for the young girl. Eun-yu runs to the infirmary to find a total anesthetic and immediately injects her teammate with 2 doses. However, administering the drug is only a temporary measure. If she wants to live with Hyun-soo, Eun-yu needs to find a way to tame the monster inside him. Seeing the girl's determination, the monster Hyun-soo agrees to stay by Eun-yu's side and promises that within 3 days, she must make the human part of him wake up. Otherwise, she will lose him forever. Having narrowly escaped death thanks to the sacrifice of his teammates, Yang, who hobbles to find a way out of Bansium, while also rescuing a stranger he accidentally met nearby. But what's worth mentioning is that this guy is not an ordinary person or a special infected individual. He is the container for a monster cocoon. Whenever the human flesh is damaged, the cocoon from inside his body will come out and form a giant heart chamber. Thanks to this strange event, the sergeant has discovered that the monsters seem to worship the cocoon, because wherever there is a cocoon and a heart, they will never set foot. As for Lee-kyung, after waking up from the dead, she sets off to the stadium to find her daughter. Here, as soon as she meets Dr. Lim, the person who contributed to the death of her husband, Lee-kyung rushes forward to beat him up in order to avenge her life partner. Feeling that he was beaten too unjustly, the old doctor then reveals to Lee-kyung that Sang-wook, her husband, did not die, but has crawled into a new body. What's more, he is looking for his blood in this settlement. Therefore, she must find her daughter before Sang-wook can take advantage of her deadly power and turn her into the next vessel for him. But it's all too late. As the leader of the stadium, Sang-wook quickly finds his child and gains her trust. To better understand the child's true abilities, during a family outing to strengthen their relationship, Sang-wook cleverly asks about his child's abilities and realizes that this is the perfect new human gene that he has been searching for. Meanwhile, in the subway settlement, Captain G has thought everything through. She chooses to turn herself into the final victim of her monster son and hands over the map marking the secret passage of the subway station to Sergeant Tak. While following Sang-wook and his daughter, Jae-jin, a pervert belonging to the New Humanity group, accidentally strays into the area where the monster Hyun-soo and Eun-yu are resting. Having not seen an acquaintance for a long time, Hyun-soo quickly grabs the guy and questions him about Sang-wook's location. But seeing is believing. He drags Jae-jin to the stadium, planning to fight a life-or-death battle with his old enemy Sang-wook. Seeing Han-soo walking with a murderous aura towards the settlement, Eun-yu's group frantically packs everything up and also speeds after him. Outside the subway station, Sergeant Tak is forced to admit his monsterization status to Sang-wook so that the Black Crow group won't be bullied by the invaders. Although this makes the people worried, it is also a double-edged sword. First, having a sick person will help him move freely without being restricted, and second, from now on, the New Humanity group will loosen its surveillance of the sergeant, making it easier for him to plot a counterattack. Speaking of Yang, who, waking up after a long and difficult day, he discovers that the monster heart on the ceiling has disappeared, replaced by an unusually clean and fair-skinned young man who has come from nowhere. He is the reborn Eun-hyuk. Faced with the incredulous and frightened face of the person in front of him, Eun-hyuk introduces himself as the real New Humanity. He can control monsters and regenerate infinitely through the cocoon called the heart. So the result is clear. The next stage of the monsterization process is to produce an immortal person, which means that those special infected individuals are not the new masters of the earth, but only mutations that have broken the laws of nature. It is precisely this truth that has made the two species with a common origin become mortal enemies with an irreconcilable grudge. And in order to prevent Sang-wook's group from continuing to kill their own kind, Eun-hyuk needs Sergeant Yong-hoo to lead the way back to the stadium. After being driven around by his father everywhere, the child returns to the stadium and meets his mother Lee-kyung again. The two mothers and children have the opportunity to express all the secrets hidden in their hearts and resolve all the previous misunderstandings. Lee-kyung also promises not to make the child sad and begs her to leave this place with her. Touched by her mother's promise, the little one agrees to create a new life with her. However, before the two could leave, Sang-wook found them at the door. He intended to take advantage of his old love to make his fiancée feel sorry for him. But Lee-kyung is no longer the person she used to be. She quickly takes action, seriously injuring Sang-wook and opening a bloody path for her child to escape. Angered by letting his prey escape, he rages in pain and immediately chases after the child. Not wanting to repeat old mistakes, Lee-kyung uses all her strength to shield her child, and before she dies, she manages to give the little one a special name, Jisoo. Sang-wook is now a monster. He does not pity his ill-fated fiancée at all, but only focuses on capturing the mutant child to complete his plan. Seeing that the little girl is stubborn and unwilling to cooperate, he angrily grabs her and locks her in the room that was once used to isolate people with symptoms. After finishing, Sang-wook finds Dr. Lim and forces him to think of a way to help him transform his body successfully. Meanwhile, outside the streets, there are 3 groups of survivors on their way back to the stadium. The trio Eun-yu, Chan-young, and Hani, the group Yong-hoo and Eun-hyuk, and the 2 special infected Hyun-soo and Jae-jin. Sharing the same goal and the same route, Eun-yu and Jae-jin then encounter Eun-hyuk one after another, but it seems that only the winged monster boy is clearly remembered by the young leader. He immediately offers Hyun-soo to cooperate with him, ignoring his foster sister. Before the indifferent and cold attitude of her brother, Eun-yu had completely collapsed because for more than a year, she had disregarded her own life, abandoned her reputation, to find him and wait for him to return. But all that Eun-yu had received was an emotionless new humanity. That is the situation on the surface. But what about life in the sewers? Sergeant Tak, after removing the surveillance order, works with Dr. Lim to eradicate the monster Sang-wook. Fortunately, he was trusted by him and chosen as his advisor, so the doctor knew that Sang-wook would use every means to destroy his current body, creating an opportunity for the slimy mass to escape and enter his daughter Jisoo. Therefore, this is a golden opportunity for him to both kill his old friend and easily take back the drug that inhibits the monsterization process from the body of Jae-young, the experimental subject of the doctor at Bansium. It turned out that the pill the Prime Minister had been searching for was hidden by Dr. Lim inside the body of the test subject. So there was no mutation, and there was no divine blessing at all. All the transformations were thanks to the pill that the doctor developed from Sang-wook's blood. Losing Cheol-yong, Jisoo's cage no longer has a guard. Seeing this, the boy Yong-soo, who always had feelings for his new friend, bravely unlocks the door to let her out. To thank him, Jisoo decides to turn Yong-soo into the monster he had always wanted to be. The bet between Eun-yu and the monster has ended, with the victory going to the young girl. Hyun-soo, the human, after a long period of coma, has finally returned, but decides to merge with the monster part inside, because he doesn't want to continue running away from it anymore. To become a better version of himself, Hyun-soo must learn to reconcile the 2 halves of good and evil in his soul. So his kind friend and his brother have both returned. Eun-yu happily follows the 2 towards the stadium at the subway station, each group preoccupied with their own stories. Sang-wook, knowing that Jisoo has escaped, quickly sends people to search every nook and cranny to find her. In-hwan and the Black Crow team are busy with their escape plan, while Dr. Lim is busy finding the pill, successfully taking the elixir out of Jae-young's body before she can heal the wound. Dr. Lim keeps his promise and injects In-hwan, but he accidentally overhears that the little girl Sang-wook is looking for can turn people into monsters. Having long yearned to experience the monsterization process, now that the opportunity is right before his eyes, Dr. Lim immediately changes his mind and swallows the pill. Angry but unable to kill him, In-hwan decides to reveal the truth about the elixir to Sang-wook, intending to borrow his hand to steal the pill back, while also distracting him and covering for Sergeant Young-ho's group to sneak into the stadium. The little girl Jisoo, after being released, secretly hides in the residential area, forming her own monster army, preparing for a showdown with her father. Just like the green home apartment, the subway settlement is really small. Soon, Sang-wook meets his child. He quickly kills Aunt Jin-ok and Yang-soo, who is now in monster form, as punishment for Ji-soo for running away. Having lost the people she loved one after another, the little girl goes crazy and orders the monsters to attack her father. When bulls fight, flies and mosquitoes die. The Black Crow group and some lucky people immediately implement their escape plan. They move through a secret passage in the sewer to get outside, but halfway there, In-hwan's body transforms, causing him to become a monster right before everyone's eyes. Having predicted this problem, In-hwan had set up a bomb on his body. Seeing the situation turn bad, he presses the detonation switch, breaking the water pipe and using his power to create an ice wall to block the monster's path. In the building hall, thinking that with her formidable power, Ji-soo can defeat Sang-wook, but her inexperience in combat causes her to be defeated and surrender to her cruel father. Sang-wook takes Ji-soo and the doctor to the fire in front of the building. He tears open the stomach of Dr. Lim to take the pill and then casually destroys it. Having finished, Sang-wook throws his old friend and his subordinate like two rags into the fire. So the plan has finally been completed. Sang-wook's body is about to wither, and a new vessel is prepared. He easily separates himself into a slimy blood mass and takes over his daughter's body. It was late at night when Eun-yu and Hyun-soo finally found their way to the stadium. At this time, all the survivors have evacuated, leaving only Ji-soo's mannequin dolls standing motionless everywhere. Following familiar traces, Hyun-soo finds his younger sister pristine and unusually clean. When he asks about Ik-kyung's whereabouts, Ji-soo smiles and says she will take him to see her, but the two walk, and no Ik-kyung appear. At this point, the little girl confesses her true identity and confirms that she has killed that woman. Not wanting to let Ji-soo be taken away by Sang-wook, Hyun-soo tightly grabs the little girl's hand and steps into her mind. While Hyun-soo is holding Sang-wook back in the inner world, Eun-hyuk from the outside is constantly attacking Ji-soo's physical body. Eun-hyuk's intervention pushes Hyun-soo out of the little girl's mind. Knowing the enemy's abilities, Sang-wook in Ji-soo's body quickly calls his mannequin army to act as a meat shield, ensuring that there is as much distance as possible between him and the winged monster. However, the adaptation time for the body is too short, and Ji-soo's abilities are not compatible with him. So Sang-wook is constantly being rejected by the little girl's body. Without a vessel, he has to accept taking a step back and looking for a new body to enter before returning to fight a one-on-one duel with the two infected individuals. As for Ji-soo, the fatal wound has killed the little girl. In pain at the passing of his close younger sister, Hyun-soo immediately hunts down and kills the madman Sang-wook. A fierce battle in the true sense of the word takes place. From within the ashes, Sang-wook, in the body of the henchman who was just burned to death, appears, unleashing a dangerous punch aimed at Hyun-soo. Our main character is no slouch either. He doesn't hesitate to hug him and then plunges into the fire. However, as soon as he touches the fire, he immediately separates into a pile of blood to find the next parasitic object. It's just unfortunate for the slimy mass that the new body it enters is the gangster Sang-wook. Although dead, Sang-wook's body still remembers the teachings of Jae-hyun, the warm and gentle gestures of Yuri, and especially the words he once said that he wanted to live like a decent person. Therefore, Sang-wook does not allow this pervert to enter and kill at will like before. As if by magic, the joints on his body automatically move, pulling the person and the parasitic object into the burning fire, burning a virtuous person and a greedy person to ashes. Not far away, Eun-yu walks alone into an empty room. The longing for her brother and the intense desire to be loved have caused Eun-yu to surrender to the monster and develop the first symptoms. In the young girl's imagination, Eun-yu is sitting with her brother in the familiar house in Green Home. Unlike his cold appearance that morning, he has now returned to being the gentle and sophisticated Eun-hyuk of the past. He hugs her, comforting her that everything is fine. Although she knows that all the images before her are false, Eun-yu still decides to stay here, leaving behind the devastated world full of monsters. Speaking of the fate of the group who escaped from the stadium thanks to In-hwan's sacrifice, they all got out safely and are temporarily staying at a construction area nearby. However, the number of people being rescued is increasing, making this place overcrowded. The need to find new accommodation as soon as possible makes Hyun-soo suddenly remember a place. which is the Green Home apartment building. A cycle has been established. Those who used to live at Green Home are returning to this place. Those who were once gruesome monsters have now gradually evolved into the new humanity. And in order to continue to survive in this post-apocalyptic world, the two species with a common origin need to coexist in peace. Here, humans and the new humanity build a new life together, creating new warm homes. Because we, whether we have evolved or not, all want to return to our sweet home. And that is the great ending of the Sweet Home series. What do you think about the plot of this work? Don't forget to leave a comment for us to know. And for now, goodbye and see you in the next video.